My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is the city of Upland that is engaged in vagina monitoring at facilitating venues that do include Vaughn's and the Upland Public Library. They are stalking out of America on behalf of the state, license 8GFB771, doing so in the engineered environment. It looks like a chair. Pay attention when you are dissecting the crime scene. This is engineered light. This is a stalker. You will document stalking as an entity any and everywhere, every traffic light, every location. They will be prosecuted as terrorists. It is the government that is engaging in what is stalking, which is identified in an environment. And what do you have here? Everyone should know. You've been paying attention to the evidence. This is the fake sun. And how even bigger picture do you know it's the fake sun outside of my evidence showing even before 2026 in the natural environment, daylight savings time or not, would there ever be the natural environment speaking to this is nothing other than the criminal pattern of conduct, and Satan has been exposed because the sun would not still be here at Uptown and Country in the middle of the afternoon like I do have on the record, okay? But moreover, and by the way, it's 7:40 a.m., but moreover, bigger picture, while I'm at the Upland Public Library and I'm proceeding to walk on the same street, Euclid Avenue, and I'm going to walk south on Euclid Avenue, and 3 hours from now at 10, well, essentially a little less than 3 hours, 2.5 hours, the sun is still over me on this same street. And as you know, as I walk out at 1 in the afternoon, and Amazon Prime is gang stalking with the city of Upland, and as you know, as I walk out at 4:33 p.m. and Amazon Prime is gang stalking with the city of Upland, the fake sun is still over me on this same street in this same city. This is prosecuting even right now at 7:41 a.m. when you are also learning how to dissect the crime scene. Okay, the demon possessed that are stalking as an entity. And as they are documented by neighborhood, as they are published on the internet, because the entity maintains no privacy, there are no constitutional rights to engage in the pattern of conduct. The government has no warrant or probable cause. It does not exist to engage in surveillance as a population. And in concert via that population, the government is being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. This is Uptown and Country at 7:41 a.m. This is P.O.C. That is Upland Police. And that's license 6 Mary George Wendy 730, 9 Xavier Larry Yolanda 700, 22424 Zebra 3. This is the fake sun at 6:18 p.m. This is the same Euclid Avenue where it is over me at 7 a.m. So this is over 10 hours later. The entity is engaged in what is stalking. This is the city of Upland. This is Marco Blanco. All right, being federally prosecuted as a terrorist leader, and American Medical Response engaging in that criminal surveillance system in furtherance of murder with the city of Upland. Not the only city that American Medical Response is engaged in criminal activity with in concert with the people of the state. This is public corruption, which is committed in furtherance of murder at the intersection of 8th Street and Euclid Avenue, and my documentation shows at this same venue at the Arco. While I am walking up and down while I'm aboard Omnitrans, this fake sun over me much more earlier in the day and in the middle of the afternoon, coming from the Upland Public Library where the fake sun is also still over the same person. All right, and this morning when it's in alignment to me, that's again at Foothill Boulevard, which is just a couple blocks up. Marco Blanco is engaged in federal group stalking monitoring, just like his predecessor, the African-American terrorist who went to San Bernardino Police Department to continue that criminal pattern of conduct. San Bernardino police have been engaged in gang stalking as well for years, and they were doing so my entire college career at Cal State San Bernardino Valley College. While I'm living as a child in San Bernardino police, just like the Upland police with the same terrorist leaders, are engaging in the P.O.C. The entities engaged in this while I am documenting the people of the state, which they are monitoring my device. And Marco Blanco, American Medical Response, license plate 9 Apple Yolanda Sam 947, have no warrant, no probable cause to engage in keeping my devices under surveillance. And this is the federal RICO case against every business such as Arco, every household such as these on Euclid Avenue who are in relevant position are engaged in gang stalking. They are stalking as a population, not different, if you will, from what Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison for. Upland police engaged in kidnapping. This is on the record. The people of the state are engaged in criminal summoning with this agency. That's federal prison. The entity is doing so with impunity. This is surveillance, not traffic. This is P.O.C. This will be published onto the internet, and this is the ongoing detailed and diligent documentation of domestic terrorists. These are all vagina monitors. The mentally ill that are filling the city of Upland, California, over and under the age of majority, engaging in the P.O.C. All right, this is 8th and Euclid. It is currently 6:21 p.m. This is terrorism and psychological torture. It is the mentally ill, the demon-possessed that are indeed gang stalking. P.O.C. P.O.C. 1970943, I believe. That's American Medical Response engaging in what is the foolish conduct of retaliatory acts When I document the demon-possessed, the mentally ill that are gang stalking and furtherance of murder, for which these company owners and these department heads are going to be prosecuted for, they engage in what are the documented acts of retaliation, and it is very specific and criminal with regard to what is demonic activity and furtherance of murder, because the fake sun is here. It's currently 6:28 p.m. This is the city of Upland gang stalking. This is the city of Upland gang stalking with the city of Ontario. The 10 freeway, there are no takeoffs from the Ontario International Airport. This is the entity that's, I just want to be clear, the prosecution of the state of California, city to city, just like California to Nevada, Upland to Ontario, Ontario to Upland, the same entity, the population, okay? License 8GWW615, 9 Apple Sam Xavier 195, 29649 Sam 1. These are the demons that are going to be removed from office. They're going to be removed from position. They're going to be federally prosecuted for conspiring my murder and for repeatedly kidnapping. Disbanding regarding the Upland Police Department. This is non-negotiable. And disbanding of the Ontario Police Department and the removal of the Ontario International Airport. This is psychotic. You're just stalking in the sky space. There's no airport. This is what they're doing over the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. And this is the 10 freeway, okay? This is the P.O.C. And they planned that together, American Medical Response, with the people under the fake sun as I get here. That's that lying in wait conduct, which they also do centering around my vagina, okay? The mental illness is the only thing that's exposed to you while they gang stalk me, the one who's prosecuting them. Their sexual violence is what's exposed to you while they center around gang stalking me, while they are monitoring and stalking the person that is putting every ounce of it on the internet. And that's going to be relevant to years in prison, to public removal from office, to exposure regarding what is serious acts of terrorism and sexual violence that is shared by a population. This is P.O.C. This is the public corruption and the prosecution of the U.S. government. California is corrupt. It's full of the Nephilim, and they're being federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. It's 6:30 p.m. Alrighty, this is stalking in the path with light. This is terrorism. And this is combined with the engineer light. These are demons engaging in psychopathic pacing. And this is the same objective everywhere. The entity is doing the same thing over and over again, different iterations of the same thing, stalking with light. Including when a demon goes in the bathroom and they're pacing all around. What's in the bathroom? Engineer light. All right, it's the same thing. These are demons doing so while they have, look at the light activity. They're stalking. And when you are subject to the pattern of conduct where the government is stalking through the people of the state are going to be federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. Engineered lights on the vehicle. License 9BNR558. They are engaging in criminal activity on behalf of Mike LORENZ, on behalf of the demons of the Ontario International Airport, and they're meeting me in the path knowing exactly where I'm at because they're all stalking. All of them. Every business is stalking. The government is following me. The businesses are stalking. The environment follows me. The businesses are stalking. The people of the state are sitting around stalking in the path. Outside of your home or business, you're stalking. It's relevant positioning. It's gang stalking. It's all state action. The network of demons, the criminal enterprise, is going to be prosecuted just like that, as the enterprise it is. This is P.O.C. I want you to pay attention. This is how you're looking at the criminal conduct of maintaining any method of activity, because this is impossible light activity. Okay, one post, 3 shadows. It becomes a sex offense and it becomes psychological torture while a population is stalking you. It's not traffic. It's serving surveillance, and you are going to be prosecuted based on the objective facts. P.O.C. It is currently 10:45 p.m. Stalking with light. Tire Center. License 37537 David 3. It's a little midget, Caucasian male, and driving a truck that's bigger than him, okay? And so is this federal case and these federal charges. This demon's engaged in that ongoing gratuitous provision of light while these demons are pacing. This ongoing criminal teamwork, the people of the state are being federally prosecuted. What you're hearing the city of Ontario do is exactly what Marcelo Blanco did, the city of Upland. P.O.C., this third party is engaged in criminal summoning Tire Center. And they are doing it for the Ontario Police Department. Those are the demons. This is prison. This is how stupid they are. They're stalking in helicopters. Everybody right here, 7ZGW301, 9WZV438. He is 37537D3 with the Ontario Police, who just testified against him in his federal case for conspiring my murder with the city of Ontario. P.O.C. And pay attention. How far away was the Ontario? Were the Ontario Police? Immediately, right? because they're stalking on behalf of that agency. The same one that's stalking me day and night by helicopter. These are the vagina monitors that also stalk in bathrooms on behalf of those sex offenders who are not a police department. And that third party is going to be federally prosecuted for threatening my life and safety in concert with the police, who are then gang stalking me conspicuously as I document that terrorist. And that is an entity, not an individual. And you're looking at the pattern of conduct amongst the city of Upland and the city of Ontario. And this is where all the vagina monitors are gang stalking. The mentally ill behavior, which is certifiable, while I will be presenting this evidence within the walls of a tribunal, and they will be getting committed. They will be being federally prosecuted for conspiracy to murder. This is not traffic, it is surveillance. P.O.C. The Ontario Police are being disbanded. Alrighty, they're being disbanded. The entities engaged in at the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, Peculiarized Light, with the Ontario Police Department. That's why they're being disbanded. The significance of the impossible light activity is relevant to that pattern of stalking me everywhere with methods of light activity, which co-conspirators of murder who are obsessed with my genitalia share in a pattern of. P.O.C. Alright, this is the Ontario Police stalking. Just like the Caucasian male on the white pickup truck and the criminal summoning immediately following by the Ontario Police, who are stalking in vehicles as well, stalking in the environment, and they're doing so with the city of Upland as well, like I documented, while the entity utilizes criminal summoning, that is, being a stalker in an ambulance, in a police vehicle, in a fire truck, is conducted by sounding sirens while they are tracking the steps that is keeping an American citizen under surveillance. I just want to be clear. These are the circumstances where LAPD committed murder. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking, that is surveillance, knowledge of who you are, not ignorance. Okay? The entity is engaging in psychopathic pacing while they are stalking in the same way. The white male with the white pickup truck, he's being federally prosecuted for co-conspiring murder with this department, which is the city of Ontario. And this is the evidence that's literally going to be used to prosecute him and the people of the state. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct on a ceaseless basis. That third party is engaging in stalking me. And the environment and the stalking by the government confirms that. It is an unmistakable pattern of conduct. And it is also shared by that agency that is stalking with regard to my documentation of their co-conspirator. The state's co-conspirator are the people of the state. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in surveillance at the square. They're stalking in the path. They're molesting my person while I'm sitting over here with Light. That's Sarah's Regis Group. And I just want to be clear, this is Mike LORENZ, who is, again, declared as a domestic enemy of the United States. He is a threat to American society. So is the department. They're engaged in, and they are showing you that they are enemies. They are engaged in murdering American citizens. They're engaged in kidnapping, stalking them, threatening them while you seek to enforce your rights, because that's exactly what I represent, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what the evidence shows. Their posture toward law and order actually is. This is the evidence serving to disband, and it's also to serve to have the agency subject to mental examinations, in other words, committed. Okay, they will be committed, and they're also going to be federally prosecuted for criminal activity, federal stalking, conspiracy to murder. The entity stole my identity. The entity committed defamation, serving a criminal pattern of conduct, while they conspired to take my life. They did that with the people of the state. It does include Tracy Banks. It does include Jason Isaac Fields. It does include Eric Corey Spencer. It does include the gang stalkers who I'm documenting throughout the city of Ontario, the state of California. All right, this is P.O.C. You're looking at the entity that engages in this ongoing pattern. Every time I put the camera on them, that is also the evidence that they are monitoring what it is that I'm capturing on my device. There's no warrant or probable cause to engage in it, and it's also simultaneously used to diagnose severe mental instability. This is psychopathic pacing. The entity's doing it while they are also admittedly stalking. This is P.O.C. It is the Ontario Town Square. This is the entity that is engaged in this pattern of conduct while I am showing you that they are stalking in the bathroom at the Upland Public Library. This is the entity that engaged in what is handing me a letter, which is an admission to this very surveillance. They are absolutely engaged in vagina monitoring in the bathroom. They are absolutely aware of the documentation of vagina monitoring at the Stater Brothers on March 2nd. And nothing occurred at the OVITT Family Community Library with regard to documentation of them monitoring my vagina. Yes, indeed. But there was no documentation captured. This is the entity that's engaging in this ongoing admission that they committed what is a criminal act of discrimination while they keep my evidence under surveillance, which is exactly what they did on June 16, 2022 as well. They're going to prison, in other words, okay? The documentation regarding this unlawful exclusion at the OVITT Family Community Library on March 2nd is ongoing. Exacerbating circumstances regarding the harms inflicted while this entity has been engaged in what is years of conspiring my murder and stalking me in effort to do that. The entity has recruited the people of the state that share in that. And this is the entity that is engaging in what is that evidence. Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison. This is the long and short of what is the significance of this department stalking. Okay, because the OVITT Family Community Library is stalking, and that letter is evidence of it as well. It is entirely fabricated, while the entity is engaging in what is evidence of my surveillance, and I have not captured any criminal activity on my part. To the contrary, I'm capturing this very criminal activity, which is ongoing inside of the doors of this library here. This is the P.O.C. Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison with the evidence of the Ontario Police stalking, the same Ontario Police that they utilized to threaten me, to harass me, and to exclude me with the threat of kidnapping, which the OVITT Family Community Library has participated in on more than one occasion. The OVITT Family Community Library represents the people of the state, like the white male in the white pickup truck who's engaged in criminal summoning with this agency, and he is going to be federally prosecuted along with the rest of the people of the state. All right, this is P.O.C. They're all engaged in criminal activity right now. I do go to their homes. I document their addresses. I document their license plates. I document them while I am capturing the pattern of conduct while they share in that. And it is all going to be used with regard to this agency's criminal activity. And this is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 11:32 p.m. where you're looking at the evidence of mental instability. Wells Fargo is gang stalking. That third party is going to place itself on the traffic camera, on the transaction cameras regarding the ATM. They're already federally prosecuted, and so is Wells Fargo. They're flying over the bank. I'm going to prosecute the bank. All right, they're flying over El Bacon, where I'm at, and everybody inside of that club is monitoring. I already documented all these license plates. The entity's engaging in a pattern of conduct. They are surrounded with evidence, and they are going to be federally prosecuted as the terrorists that they are. This is the entity. I just want to be clear. You're looking at desperation. You're looking at ongoing severe mental instability. You're looking at what is an ongoing admission regarding unlawful conduct by an agency that sought to defame the targeted individual as that criminal. And this is relevant to what is a criminal enterprise, a violation of federal RICO laws and violation of what are existing laws. Every state actor, such as Hernandez, he's going to prison for stalking. Okay, these fake police officers that are engaging in criminal activity, as they are stalking me wearing guns and badges and in these vehicles, they're going to prison. And this is the evidence that's supporting that policy. The people of the state that are stalking with those police departments, they're going to be going to federal prison as well. This is how you're going to prosecute domestic terrorism. And this is the foolishness regarding this agency, regarding the state of California's pattern of stalking me by helicopter. I said at the outset of this investigation, what you will see is the hallmark of stalking by helicopters. While this entity has provided that body of evidence, it is the foundational framework for putting terrorists where they belong. And they belong in the facilities where people like Osama bin Laden are. Guantanamo Bay, all right? Where enemies, foreign and domestic, who are a threat, let me zoom out so you can see. Enemies, foreign and domestic, are going to be put where they belong, in mental institutions and in federal prison. While you hear that ongoing audible noise of the engines, they're monitoring right now. And this is the evidence. I want to be clear. The federal government is going to conduct raids. The federal government is going to engage in what is deportation, massive deportation. The federal government is going to engage in what is interfering with the home structures of the terrorists who have custody of children, access to those who are, for example, developmentally challenged, while the terrorists of Oak Park and Anthesis show you the threat that they are to the public. Gang stalking with this agency. This is the entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're going straight to prison. This is the P.O.C. This is the stupidest, most foolish evidence that a government can hand over, and it is because they are engaging in what is bully conduct, and there was never any sort of intellect behind it. So when the demon-possessed, who are in fact mentally ill, are caught red-handed, these are demons who are psychopathic, and they are now committing the criminal acts in front of all of you, and they have no strategy, meaning the inability to restrain from this ongoing criminal conduct. They are blinded with fury toward me. And I am only enforcing my rights. This is why they are going to prison, and they will be committed. This is P.O.C. This is prosecution of the people of the state. GUAPO 23. They're all these license plates are documented. El Bacone is engaged in the pattern. I already documented this demon right here. He's using his vehicle as a light activity, and this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted for that very conduct. This is the ease with which they are sharing in facilitation, and this is in furtherance of murder. Okay, Mike Lorenz, and don't forget Derek Williams. You're not retiring out of a federal prosecution for conspiring my murder. Jonathan Burnett commits kidnapping, and the entity, one demon after another, engaging in what is kidnapping, and the evidence has already prosecuted them on the internet. You're looking at them engaging in targeting as they're stalking, flying across the field. Then you're seeing them commence with the psychopathic pacing, which is a psychopath that's engaging in, oh, I'm just engaging in what is flying in circles for funsies because we do this every night. That's the entity that's engaging in what is ongoing psychopathic pacing. It's mental illness on its face. You already know that they're mentally ill because they are indeed stalking, and they're stalking in a helicopter, and then they engage in psychopathic pacing in that helicopter on video. This is the P.O.C. Let me show you what is the specific environment. Here's a shadow over here. The Ontario Police Department are stalking. Here's a shadow over here. The Ontario Police Department are stalking. I just want to be clear, the evidence that is published on the YouTube channel regarding the June 16, 2022 is the evidence of what is Sean Thrasher. There's a bigger picture than this agency that's stalking right now at what is 11:36 p.m. There is a whole pattern of conduct speaking to an entity that's engaged in targeting with the Ontario Police Department and every single last one. Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, San Antonio Regional Hospital, you have American Medical Response, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario International Airport, venues like the OVITT Family Community Library, Stater Brothers Markets, the Ontario Village Shopping Center, Economy Inn committing kidnapping, Woodside Senior Apartments committing kidnapping. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, these are the ways in which the entity is going to be prosecuted, while the defendants themselves and the co-defendants, who are the people of the state, are being prosecuted together with regard to that criminal conspiracy, which is proven while that agency is stalking me on this in this psychopathic and obsessive manner. P.O.C. This is P.O.C. This is indeed the prosecution of the U.S. government, and this is the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. No police association has any standing. They're going to be prosecuted as terrorists. They have no immunity, and they have no protection under the law. They're not taking any 401k, no final paychecks. They're going to be relieved. They're done with law enforcement, and they're going to be prosecuted and put in prison as terrorists. They're not engaged in law enforcement. They're not engaged in the execution of the duties of officers. They're going to be prosecuted as the bare bones, unadulterated terrorists that they are. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:37 p.m. This activity creation, this is why this club has their windows open while they're engaged in activity creation. This is where the entity has the fake sun and the fake moon. This is where the entity has the engineer light. This is light activity creation. This is ongoing audible activity. Everybody in there is monitoring with the Ontario Police. And common sense says, you're here and the Ontario Police are flying in circles here. None of them are ignorant. They're all demons. This is monitoring. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 11:38 p.m.